So you have a child and you find out that your child is unique. And you hear around the way, sometimes it's right away, 2 years old, 1 year old, 6 months old. Sometimes it's 8 years old, 11 years old. Have you ever heard of the Division of Developmental Disabilities? Now it's the Developmental Disabilities Administration. And they'll say, oh, well, what can they do for me? So-and-so said that they applied and they're waiting. Yeah, been there, done that. The importance of it is perhaps when you get in, you kind of miss that lucky straw. Maybe the funding wasn't there. Maybe your situation wasn't dire enough. Who knows what the reasonings behind the decisions are. The importance is to get in the system.
Anybody at any time can request a waiver program, and what they do is they contact our case managers through the Developmental Disabilities Administration, and that person then will put in a waiver enrollment request for them. Most likely there will be an assessment that's completed to identify what those needs are, what the services the family is requesting, and then that request comes up to the central office, and we have a committee that reviews those requests for the whole entire state. And when we do those reviews, we look at what's the service request being requested, what is the level of need, have they accessed the services that they have available to them, and then we look at if we have capacity or funding in the waiver that's being requested. One of the things I think gets really frustrating for people is when we talk about wait lists or database. Our waiver programs actually don't have wait lists, we call them database. And we call them a database because we do not have a hierarchy of numbers. So we don't say you're on slot number 1700 or 1200 or 100, and when your number comes up, you get a waiver slot. What we're required to do is show what the need of the individual is, and we base that off of our assessment. We look at what the services and supports that person has available to them, because that is a requirement of Medicaid standard, is that they need to access their Medicaid services prior to accessing a waiver program. That's part of the expectation from our programs. And once we look at that, we're saying, okay, what's the gap? What's the service that's not getting their needs met? And then we look at whether a waiver can meet those needs or not.
What it meant to us was this hope that we didn't have to troubleshoot alone, that we actually had an agency and administration now behind us, with case management working with us, with paid services working with us. It really has shifted things for us, and above all, if something happens to me, that waiver stays with my son. He's got an administration that now has him on the books, and once you get that waiver, that's a really beautiful security piece for my son who deserves it.